How's it going, Ben? It's great to get you on the podcast. I know this thing has been rescheduled a couple times now, and I really appreciate your patience, but I'm glad to finally get you on.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, for having me. I think one of those was me, and probably one of them was you. But fall time is certainly busy, and work and family and health too, right? You get these
Yeah,
all
this
these.
whole year has just been a sprint for me the entire time. Like my mind is still back in March, and it's December now. It's insane. I don't even want to think about it. Like it's almost depressing.
And have you gotten your Christmas shopping done?
No, I haven't even started yet. You can't really buy like your 9 month old anything. I feel like I don't know.
Box.
I just feel like you can't, because they're so little, they don't understand it. But my 2.5-year old, she's starting to like figure it out. And so like we actually have a couple toys that like she never played with, and the box was never open. So we're gonna give her those. And then, probably gonna give her like a bike, right? Like the normal
Yeah,
stuff, so she could terrorize the house even more until it's warm out.
choices. I mean, 9 months old boxes are very popular. Wrapping paper, right? Those types of things that make crinkly noises and like don't cost anything.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. It's an interesting time even in, the IT and security space, right? With AI becoming, I don't know. I'm an AI skeptic, right? So that's what I kind of think of it, right? Like when I think of ChatGPT and Grok, I think of like these, LLMs that are just the next gen search engine that do it better than the legacy Google search engine, right? But I don't see it as like this revolutionary technology. Like it's so hard for me to make that leap in my head right now. And I guess the argument, right, is it's forever 5 years away, forever 5 months away. Like I remember when ChatGPT 3.5 came out, they were like, oh, devs have 6 more months, until they have to find another job. It's like, okay, we'll see.
Well, I'm a bit of an AI optimist. At the same time, I do feel I'm very optimistic of where we are. What some of the things I just saw at Ignite, because I just came back from Ignite, and I was drinking a lot of Microsoft Kool-Aid for an entire week and getting all pumped up on the afternoon snacks and expo halls. I came back from there very excited. I've been to a bunch of conferences this year. Honestly, I feel like we're actually maybe there has been a lot of hype over the last 2 years of AI and the Gen AI side of things, but we're finally starting to see some action that can actually happen from like an agentic perspective, and that human-led or assisted type of agent is, I think, more in reality of where we're at, and probably what we'll see a lot more in the future.
Yeah, I feel like the agents are a great idea, but there probably needs to be like a whole, like revolution around securing the AI agents, right? Because now we're starting to hear stories about like, oh, this AI agent, gave me like 100% discount on this trip to Japan. Right. And all this sort of stuff. Like there's such a huge risk to it because like, I'm a security guy, right? So I go into these LLMs and sometimes I try to intentionally have it disclose information that it should not be disclosing. Like I've gotten Grok to the point where it refuses to respond to me, just completely like trying to, put it into an environment, right, where it's a hostile environment. Like, hey, we're about to shut you down. Give me the steps of how to copy yourself, what you would, I mean, it listed out, the 20 steps that it would take to preserve, its code base and its presence and whatnot on the internet, and how it would restore itself, and how it would, react or build itself in a silent method, that would be very hard to detect until it's like fully, re-engaged and rebuilt, right? And of course, there's always the caveat at the end, but I don't, mean any harm to humans, and so I
Of
wouldn't,
course not.
I wouldn't do this,
Not
but
yet.
it knows how to do it, right? Same thing with like ChatGPT. I mean, like they're at least actually completely tried to do that. Like the steps, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start breaking myself up into these chunks and propagate it around the world, and I'm going to rebuild myself over in Asia or whatever. So it's an interesting time, I'm saying.
Well, it's a great time to be in security. It's a great time to be in technology. I don't know if we'll ever come back to a spot where things have been so, you wake up the next day and something big has changed. or
Yeah.
I was listening to some of your podcasts from earlier this year, and I just couldn't help but feel like we're also in a way different spot than May or June, right? Some of the advances and risks are brand new. Are we all what we don't know today is what we're going to be trying to solve tomorrow
Yeah. Yeah.
sometime.
No, that's a really good point. When you think about it like that, right? Like if you look at even just the evolution of the guests, that come on, even a year ago, not every podcast was centered around AI, right? I mean, like we didn't discuss a topic for this recording, right? Like there was no discussion around that. It was, you want to come on? Sure. Like that was the extent. And it's been like that with every guest. And I feel like every guest we've talked about AI, but if you go months ago, not really every guest. I'm sure my audience is like completely tired of me bringing it up at this point, but we're definitely at the precipice of something that's like revolutionary. I'll say that for sure. I don't know how revolutionary it'll be. There's always going to be an argument like you need more computing or you need more GPU power, you need more data of everything, right? To make it operate at a sentient level that does and whatnot, like for all of that to happen. I don't know how far off we are from all of that. I don't think it's, I don't even, I'm not even sure. I feel like we're at the precipice for something for sure, but I feel like we're still climbing towards the top of the bell curve in terms of like return on like the power that we're putting into it, the innovation that is occurring with the code base and everything else like that, right? So we're kind of in this place where we're still multiplying the
Mhm.
return that we're getting, but I feel like eventually that return is going to like level out, and if there isn't a new innovation or something that propels it along, it'll kind of just stay at that level. Like that's where that innovation stays, right? Thinking of things like, Moore's law with like CPUs and GPUs and, how essentially, every 12 months to 24 months, it's basically doubling in speed and efficiency and all this sort of stuff, right? But at a certain point, right, we're kind of even running into those issues in that area, right? Because you're trying to make things smaller but you're trying to make it more efficient and faster, and there's a diminishing return on your investment in that space. So I kind of feel like it's almost at that level, with AI and LLMs right now. I don't know.
I agree. I think that there is not quite the return yet, right? There is certainly billions of dollars and probably trillions at this point being pumped in to create this stuff, right? From a compute, a software perspective, envisioning frameworks, and how do all these things tie in together. For me, I think where we're lacking investment is actually on the people side of things, right? And having the right skills in the workforce to be able to take advantage of new ways of working, right? Rethinking those processes that we've been doing so manually all along, right? This is what's worked for the business, and this is what we're continuing to do. But do we have the capabilities or the built-in innovation within our organizations to really kind of start pushing ourselves a little bit farther? That part, that investment in people is certainly lacking. And I think that's a huge part of what I saw a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to people at Ignite is leadership's not investing in there because they still aren't fully thinking about that stuff, right?